Alex never thought today would be different from any other day on Space Station Beta 7. At 17, his life had fallen into a simple routine. Wake up, fix broken robots, eat lunch, fix more broken robots, sleep. That's how it had been since his parents died 3 years ago, in what everyone called a shipping accident. The repair shop was quiet that morning. Alex's hands moved automatically as he fixed another cleaning bot, his tools floating in the low gravity around him like loyal pets. The station's artificial sunlight flickered through the wide window behind him, casting shadows of passing ships across his workbench. "Hey kid, you got my bot fixed yet?" Mr. Chen, his boss, floated through the doorway. The old man's gray hair drifted around his head like a storm cloud. "Almost done," Alex replied, not looking up from his work, just updating its navigation system. That's when the station's alarm started blaring. Red lights flashed through the corridors. Alex's tools scattered as the station's gravity suddenly increased to Earth normal. Something big was happening. "All residents report to the main hall immediately," the station AI announced in its calm voice. "This is not a drill. All residents report to the main hall immediately." Mr. Chen's face went pale. In 30 years, I've never heard that alarm. Alex followed the crowd floating through the corridors. The main hall was the biggest room on Beta 7, usually used for markets and celebrations. Today, it was filled with nervous whispers and scared faces. 3 massive ships had appeared next to the station. They were unlike anything Alex had ever seen. Sleek, purple-black vessels that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Each one was bigger than Beta 7 itself. A beam of light shot from the largest ship into the main hall. When it faded, 5 tall figures stood there. They looked almost human, except for their silvery skin and eyes that glowed like distant stars. Their uniforms were covered in symbols that seemed to move when Alex wasn't looking directly at them. "We are representatives of the Galactic Empire of Zorax," the tallest alien announced. Its voice echoed perfectly in every language. "We are conducting a search for one specific human. Please remain calm as we scan each of you." The aliens moved through the crowd, holding devices that hummed softly. People stepped back, trying to avoid them, but the aliens kept scanning. Alex watched as they got closer and closer to where he stood. When they reached him, all 5 devices suddenly lit up like miniature suns. The aliens turned to stare at him with their glowing eyes. "Identity confirmed," the leader said. "Alexander James Chen, born Earth date July 15, 2207. Son of James and Maria Chen." Alex felt his heart stop. "How do you know my parents' names?" "Your parents signed a binding contract with the Empire of Zorax 15 years ago. This contract is now active." The crowd backed away from Alex like he had suddenly caught fire. Mr. Chen tried to float forward, but one of the aliens held up a hand, creating an invisible wall. "What contract?" Alex's voice cracked. "My parents were cargo pilots." The alien leader pulled out a device that projected a huge hologram. Alex saw his parents' signatures glowing in the air, next to strange symbols he couldn't read. "Your parents were more than cargo pilots, young Alexander. They were part of a diplomatic mission to Zorax. To secure peace between our peoples, they entered into a marriage contract. Their firstborn child, you, would marry into the Zoraxian royal family upon reaching adulthood." The room spun around Alex. "That's impossible. My parents would have told me. They died before they could, but the contract remains binding. You will come with us to fulfill your destiny as the future spouse of Princess Zora. Refusal will be seen as an act of war against the Empire." Alex looked around desperately. Hundreds of faces stared back at him. Mr. Chen looked heartbroken. The whole station seemed to hold its breath. "What happens if I say no?" The alien's eyes glowed brighter. "Then this station will be the first to face the Empire's disappointment. After that, your Earth. We are not a forgiving people, Alexander Chen. Choose wisely." Alex thought about all the people on Beta 7, about Earth, about his parents, who apparently had been hiding massive secrets. "When do we leave?" he asked quietly. The alien almost smiled. Now, the beam of light returned, and Alex felt himself dissolving. The last thing he saw was Mr. Chen's face, watching his adopted son disappear into an adventure he never wanted. The light faded, and Alex found himself standing in what looked like liquid gold. The walls of the massive room flowed like water, but when he touched them, they felt solid and warm. Soft music played from nowhere, sounds he had never heard before, like crystal wind chimes mixed with whale songs. "Welcome to the Imperial Starship Destiny's Crown," a melodic voice announced. Alex turned to see a small alien floating nearby. Unlike the silver-skinned officials, this one had blue scales and wide eyes that changed color like mood rings. She wore what looked like a uniform made of living flowers. "I am Pip, your cultural advisor," she said, doing a backflip in the air. "My job is to keep you from accidentally starting a war before the wedding." "That's not very reassuring," Alex muttered. Pip laughed, her scales turning pink. "Oh good, you have a sense of humor. The last diplomatic guest we had was a rock person from Kepler 16 bits. Couldn't tell a joke from a death threat." Before Alex could respond, the walls parted like curtains. A procession of floating platforms glided in, each carrying strange and beautiful objects. Clothes that seemed to be made of starlight. Devices that projected entire galaxies as holograms. Food that changed color and shape as he watched. "Your new wardrobe, your educational tools, and your first meal in the Empire," Pip explained. "Though I should warn you, the orange ones taste like sadness, and the purple ones tell jokes in your head." Alex picked up what looked like a simple black bracelet. It immediately wrapped around his wrist, and tiny lights began dancing across its surface. "That's your translator and cultural guide," Pip said. "It will also keep you from floating away. The Empire doesn't believe in simple gravity. We prefer to drift in whatever direction feels right at the moment." As if on cue, Alex felt his feet leave the floor. Instead of panic, he felt a strange sense of freedom. It was like swimming in air. "Now," Pip said, her scales turning a serious shade of blue, "we should discuss the Emperor. He'll want to meet you soon, and there are 7,000 formal greetings you need to learn. We'll start with the basic ones. Just try not to accidentally challenge him to a duel like the last ambassador." 7,000 greetings. How many ways can you possibly say hello? "Oh, that's just for Tuesdays. Wednesdays have 12,000. Alex was about to ask as she was joking when alarms started blaring throughout the ship. The liquid gold walls turned red, and Pip's scales went completely white. "That's not supposed to happen," she whispered. The wall parted again, and a tall figure stormed in. The Emperor of Zorax looked nothing like Alex expected. Instead of silver skin, he seemed to be made of shifting shadows and starlight. Where his face should be, there was a swirling galaxy. "The princess," his voice boomed like thunder, "is gone." Pip squeaked and tried to hide behind Alex, which wasn't very effective since she was still glowing pink. "What do you mean, gone?" Alex asked, surprising himself with his courage. The Emperor turned his cosmic gaze on Alex. "My daughter, your intended, has apparently decided to reject her responsibilities. She left this." A hologram appeared in the air between them. A young woman with hair like flowing mercury and eyes full of stars looked directly at Alex. "I refuse to be part of this political game," the recording said. "And to my arranged future husband, I'm sorry, but I won't let them use us like pawns. If you're smart, you'll run too." The hologram vanished. The Emperor's galaxy face swirled faster. "You have 30 Earth days," he announced. "Find her and convince her to return, or the contract is void." He paused, his voice growing colder than space itself. "And you know what that means for your little station." "For Earth." The Emperor vanished in a burst of dark energy, leaving Alex floating in the golden room with a terrified Pip. "Well," Pip said, her scales slowly returning to blue, "I guess we can skip the greeting lessons. How are you at solving interstellar mysteries?" Alex stared at the space where the princess's hologram had been. He had seen something in her eyes, not just rebellion, but fear. She wasn't just running from a marriage. She was running from something much worse. "Pip," he said, "teach me everything you know about the princess, and maybe find me something that doesn't tell jokes in my head for lunch. We've got work to do." 3 days into their search, Alex discovered that spaceports were much stranger than he'd imagined. He and Pip had landed on Station X-227, known to locals as the Maze. The entire station spun constantly, its corridors rearranging themselves every hour like a giant puzzle. "Stay close," Pip whispered, her scales shifting to match the station's rusty walls. "This place is full of memory merchants." "Memory what?" Alex asked, ducking under a pipe that leaked rainbow steam. As if answering his question, a creature that looked like a walking crystal chandelier approached them. "Memories for sale," it chimed. "Fresh memories. See the birth of stars. Experience true love. Only 50 credits for a sunset on Mars." Alex felt something brush against his mind, like fingers trying to open a door. His translator bracelet buzzed warmly, protecting him. "No thank you," Pip said firmly, pulling Alex along. "We're here for information, not memories." They made their way deeper into the maze, passing shops that sold bottled dreams, preserved emotions, and what one vendor claimed was genuine dinosaur thoughts, though Pip said they were probably just recordings of angry geese. Their destination was the Starfall Cafe, where the princess had last been seen. The cafe hung upside down from the station's ceiling, with anti-gravity bubbles serving as seats. Each bubble contained its own atmosphere and temperature, allowing different species to enjoy their meals in comfort. There, Pip pointed to a server droid with 8 arms and a face that displayed emoji expressions. That's who served the princess. The droid rolled over to them, its face showing a curious, "Welcome to Starfall. Would you like to try our special? Today we're serving quantum coffee. It exists in all possible flavors until you taste it." Alex pulled out the hologram projector and showed the princess's image. "We're looking for her. She was here 3 days ago." The droid's face switched rapidly through several expressions before settling on, "Oh dear, oh my, the princess who wasn't a princess." It chirped nervously. "She paid with stardust and secrets. Said she was headed to the ghost market on Nyx." "The ghost market?" Pip's scales turned pale gray. "That's not good." Before Alex could ask why, an explosion rocked the station. Through the cafe's windows, they saw 3 Imperial ships appearing out of hyperspace, their weapons charging. "Everyone stay calm," a voice boomed through the station. "This is Commander Vex of Imperial Security. We are looking for 2 fugitives, a human boy and a color-changing guide. Surrender them, and your station will remain intact." The droid's face displayed. As chaos erupted in the cafe, various aliens began panicking, their anti-gravity bubbles bouncing off each other like cosmic pinball. "Quick!" Pip grabbed Alex and pulled him into the kitchen. "I have an idea, but you're going to hate it." She pointed to what looked like a garbage chute. "This station recycles everything, including air. All the vents connect to the central hub. We can escape through the recycling system." "You're right," Alex said, looking at the tiny opening. "I hate it." Another explosion rocked the station. They could hear Imperial troops boarding. "Got a better idea." Alex didn't. Taking a deep breath, he followed Pip into the chute. They slid through a maze of tunnels, passing pockets of stored air, frozen water crystals, and what looked like collections of lost dreams, drifting like soap bubbles. They emerged in a massive chamber filled with swirling clouds of recycled elements. In the center floated an ancient maintenance bot, its shell covered in glowing moss. "Welcome to my realm," it hummed. "Seeking escape. That will cost you." "We don't have any money," Alex started to say, but the bot waved a rusty arm. "Not money. Memories. Happy ones. I collect them to stay sane in this lonely place." Alex thought of his few happy memories, his parents, his life on Beta 7. But before he could decide, Pip floated forward. "Take mine," she said. "I have 300 years of happy memories." "Pip." "No." Alex tried to stop her, but she had already connected with the bot. "A generous offering," the bot said. "In return, I give you this." It projected a series of coordinates and a message. The princess left this for anyone brave or foolish enough to follow her path. The message showed a massive space station shaped like a black lotus flower, the Ghost Market. She also left this word: revolution. Imperial troops were getting closer. They could hear boots on metal getting louder. "There's a smuggler's ship docked in Bay 94, the bot said. "Go now. My gift for the extra happy memories you shared." Pip's scales had turned a dull gray, her eyes slightly unfocused. "I know I've forgotten something important," she said softly. "But I remember we need to run." Alex took her hand, fighting back tears. "Then let's run." As they raced for Bay 94, Alex made a promise to himself. He would find the princess, but not for the Emperor, not for Earth. He would find her for Pip, who had just sacrificed centuries of happiness to help a friend she'd only known for days. The mystery was getting deeper, and the word revolution echoed in his mind. What was the princess really planning? And why did she need someone to follow her? The answers, he guessed, would be waiting in the Ghost Market, if they survived long enough to get there. The Ghost Market wasn't just a black lotus in space, it was alive. As Alex and Pip approached in their stolen ship, they saw the massive petals pulse with bioluminescent light. Ships of all sizes moved in and out of the gaps between petals like nectar-drinking insects. "I remember something about this place," Pip said, her scales flickering between colors as her damaged memory tried to work. "The Ghost Market. It's where people trade things that shouldn't exist." A voice crackled through their ship's communications. "State your impossible thing." "What?" Alex asked. "To enter the Ghost Market, you must bring something impossible," Pip explained, though her face showed she wasn't sure how she knew this. "It's how they keep Imperial forces out. The Empire doesn't believe in impossible things." Alex thought quickly. "We have memories that were taken by choice," he said, pointing to Pip. "And I have a marriage contract I never signed." Silence for a moment. Then, "Acceptable impossibilities." Follow the green light. A beam of green energy wrapped around their ship, pulling them toward one of the lotus petals. As they passed through, Alex saw that the petal wasn't solid. It was made of millions of tiny creatures that looked like glowing butterflies, moving aside to let them through. Inside was a city that ignored physics. Buildings hung upside down, sideways, and in dimensions that hurt to look at. People walked on air, swam through solid objects, and some seemed to exist in multiple places at once. "Remember," Pip said, her scales settling on a cautious orange, "nothing here is what it seems. Don't buy anything, don't make promises, and definitely don't eat the free samples." They docked their ship at a pier made of frozen time. Literal seconds stacked on top of each other like glass bricks. As they stepped out, a creature that looked like a living shadow approached them. "You seek the one who trades in royal lies," it whispered. "Not a question." "We're looking for Princess Zora," Alex confirmed. "Follow the unpath." The shadow pointed to what looked like an empty space between two twisted buildings. Walking the unpath was like trying to move through a dream. Each step took them somewhere that shouldn't exist, through memories of places that never were, past windows that showed impossible worlds. Alex saw a version of Earth where the dinosaurs never died out, a universe made entirely of music, and a dimension where time flowed backward. Finally, they reached a door that wasn't there. Pip reached out and knocked on nothing, which made a sound like laughing stars. The door that wasn't there opened, revealing a rebel hideout unlike anything Alex had imagined. The rebels weren't hiding in shadows. They were hiding in light. The entire room was so bright it created darkness, a paradox that made his eyes water. And there, sitting on a throne made of broken crowns, was Princess Zora. But she wasn't what Alex expected. Half of her was the beautiful princess from the hologram, but the other half was pure void, a window into deep space itself. "You actually came," she said, her voice echoing both forward and backward in time. "Either very brave or very foolish." "Probably both," Alex admitted. "Your father wants you back." "That thing in the palace is not my father." Zora stood, stars swirling in her void half. "The real emperor died 10 years ago. What sits on the throne is a quantum parasite, a being that exists by stealing possibilities. It's been eating our future, one choice at a time." Alex felt the truth of her words. It explained the emperor's galaxy face, the impossible demands, the obsession with contracts and rules. The marriage contract, he realized. It's not about politics. "No," Zora said. "It's about consuming Earth's possibilities. If we marry under its power, it can legally start feeding on your world's future. That's why your parents tried to stop it. That's why they—" She stopped, but Alex suddenly understood. The shipping accident. It wasn't an accident. "I'm building an army," Zora continued. "Not of soldiers, of impossibilities. Things the parasite can't predict or control. That's why we're here in the ghost market. That's why I needed someone who could make impossible choices." Before Alex could respond, alarms started blaring. But they were alarms of pure color and taste rather than sound. The shadow creature rushed in. "Imperial forces," it hissed. "They've brought a reality anchor. They're trying to make the ghost market possible." Through the windows that weren't windows, they could see parts of the market starting to become normal. The impossible things were fading, becoming mundane. If it continued, their hiding place would be exposed. "We need to move," Zora said. "Will you help us? I warn you, if you join us, you'll never be able to see reality the same way again." Alex looked at Pip, whose scales were rapidly cycling through colors he didn't know existed. He thought about his parents, about Beta 7, about Earth, about all the possibilities that deserve to stay possible. "What's the plan?" he asked. Zora smiled with both her normal mouth and her void stars. "We're going to steal the impossible. All of it. But first," she reached out and touched Pip's forehead. "Let's return what was sacrificed for this mission." Pip's scales exploded with light as her memories returned, but they weren't just her old memories. Now they included memories of things that could be, might be, should be. "The real revolution," Zora said, "isn't about changing what is. It's about saving what could be." The reality anchor was getting closer. Normal physics were creeping in like a tide. "Time to go," Zora announced. "The next part is going to be really impossible." And as the market began to fade around them, Alex realized he was finally exactly where he needed to be, in the middle of an impossible revolution, fighting to save the future itself. They escaped the ghost market through a door made of forgotten wishes, just as the reality anchor turned the last impossible things ordinary. Their ship wasn't a ship anymore. Zora had transformed it into a dream that thought it was a spaceship, making it invisible to Imperial sensors. "Where are we going?" Alex asked, watching stars streak by in patterns that looked like memories. "To the one place the parasite can't reach," Zora said. "The edge of probability." Pip, now glowing with restored and impossible memories, created a holographic map from her scales. "The edge of probability exists where all choices meet none," she explained. "It's where your parents built their base." "My parents?" Alex's heart skipped. They had a base. "They were the leaders of the original revolution," Zora said softly. "They discovered what the parasite was doing. They built a weapon, not to destroy it, but to restore all the possibilities it had eaten. Their dream ship passed through a cloud of maybes and almost wheres, emerging in a space that wasn't quite space. Ahead floated what looked like a space station made of crystal mirrors, each reflecting a different version of reality. "The possibility engine," Pip whispered in awe. "Your parents' greatest creation." As they docked, Alex saw images in the mirrors, himself growing up with his parents still alive, Earth joining a peaceful galactic alliance, the real emperor living to see his daughter grow up. All the futures the parasite had devoured. Inside the station, they found a laboratory filled with machines that ran on hope and computers powered by dreams. On the main screen, a message waited. "Dear Alex, if you're reading this, we failed to stop the parasite, but we left you everything you need to finish what we started." The marriage contract wasn't just a trap, it was our trap. When two people whose futures have been stolen come together by choice, not by force, it creates a paradox the parasite can't digest. Love, Mom and Dad. That's why it wanted our marriage so badly, Zara realized. Not to consume more possibilities, but because it knew we could destroy it if we chose each other freely. Suddenly, the station shook. Through the crystal mirrors, they saw Imperial ships appearing, led by a vessel that seemed to eat light itself. "The parasite," Zara hissed. "It followed our probability trail." The creature that wore her father's form materialized in the lab, its galaxy face swirling with hungry stars. But now Alex could see what it really was, a hole in reality itself, consuming all other possibilities to maintain its own existence. "You disappoint me, daughter," it said in a voice that consumed sound. "You could have ruled an empire of perfect certainty. Instead, you choose chaos." "I choose possibility," Zora corrected. Half of her body blazed with void stars, matching the parasite's power. Alex felt something warm in his pocket. His translator bracelet was reacting to the possibility engine, transforming into something else. The last gift from his parents. "Pip," he shouted. "The paradox engine. It needs power." Pip understood immediately. Her scales began to glow brighter and brighter as she projected every impossible memory, every could have been, might have been, and should have been into the machine. The parasite laughed. "Memories cannot harm me. I have eaten entire timelines." "These aren't just memories," Alex said, holding up the transformed bracelet. "They're choices, every choice you stole, preserved by my parents in this station, and we choose to set them all free." He looked at Zara, not as a princess, not as a rebel, but as someone who had chosen to fight for everyone's right to choose their own future. She smiled, both her human smile and her void star smile, and took his hand. The parasite screamed as paradox energy flooded the station. Every mirror showed a different possibility, all becoming real at once. The creature's galaxy face began to crack, revealing the nothingness inside. "What have you done?" it howled. "We chose," Alex and Zara said together, "to make everything possible again." The station filled with light, not the blinding light of the rebel base, but the light of infinite possibilities being born. Through it all, Alex held tight to Zara's hand, watching as reality itself began to heal. And in that moment of infinite choice, Alex saw one last message from his parents, written in the light of new possibilities. "You chose well, son. Now help everyone else choose their own futures too." The parasite's scream faded into nothing as the universe exploded with new possibilities. But this wasn't the end. It was just the first choice of many to come. Freedom, as it turned out, was harder than slavery. After releasing all possibilities back into the universe, chaos bloomed like quantum flowers. Ships began arriving at the possibility engine. Vessels made of pure music, crafts powered by laughter, boats that sailed on starlight. Each carried rebels who had felt their stolen choices return. "We have 6 hours before reality settles," Zara announced, her void stars pulsing with urgency. "We need to reach the Imperial Palace before the parasite can establish a new pattern of certainty." The problem was getting there. The parasite had locked down all normal space routes to the capital. But Alex, studying his parents' research, found something interesting. "Look at this," he said, pointing to a diagram that danced with impossible colors. They mapped the spaces between choices, the quantum tunnels where decisions haven't been made yet. Pip's scales rippled with excitement. The decision roads. I thought those were just legends, paths that exist only when you're not sure where you're going. Their fleet gathered around the possibility engine, a strange armada of ships that shouldn't exist. Alex and Zara led them in their dream ship, now powered by the paradox energy they'd released. To navigate the decision roads, Zara explained to the fleet, each ship must be piloted by someone facing a genuine choice. The road appears when you're truly uncertain. Alex looked at their gathered allies. Memory merchants trading in futures instead of pasts, shadow creatures who'd learned to bend light, beings made of pure probability who could split into multiple selves. "Everyone ready to make some choices?" he asked. The fleet entered the decision roads, tunnels of pure uncertainty that wrapped around normal space like silver spider webs. Each ship followed a different path based on their pilots' doubts and hopes. They saw amazing things in those quantum spaces, gardens where cause grew after effect, libraries where books wrote themselves, orchestras playing the music of electrons spinning, the very stuff of reality waiting to be shaped by choice. But the parasite wasn't idle. It sent certainty hunters after them, creatures that looked like black holes wearing armor, trying to force the decision roads into single paths. Several rebel ships had to make emergency choices just to avoid being erased from possibility. "Look," Pip pointed ahead with a color-shifting tentacle. The capital. The imperial palace hung in space like a frozen thought, but now they could see its true nature. It wasn't just a building. It was a massive probability calculator, designed to process reality into rigid patterns the parasite could consume. "We can't attack it directly," Zora said. "It's protected by quantum certainty fields. Any action we definitely choose to take will fail." Alex smiled. "Then let's not choose. Pip, remember that trick from the ghost market?" Pip's scales flashed with understanding. She began broadcasting her impossible memories to the fleet. Memories of things that hadn't happened yet, might never happen, but could. Each ship began to flicker, existing in multiple states at once. They were attacking and not attacking, advancing and retreating, succeeding and failing all at the same time. The certainty fields couldn't handle it. They began to crack like glass hit with sound waves of exactly the right frequency. But the parasite had one last trick. It appeared before them in a ship made of compressed destiny, its galaxy face now a torn hole in space. "You think uncertainty can defeat me?" Its voice boomed through reality itself. "I am the end of all questions. I am the death of maybe." "No," Alex said quietly. "You're just one possibility that got too hungry." He looked at Zara, who nodded. Together, they activated the possibility engine's core that they'd brought with them, a sphere of pure choice created by his parents. "Everyone," Zora called to the fleet. "Make a choice, any choice, but make it for yourself." Thousands of decisions exploded through the decision roads like fireworks. Simple choices, life-changing choices, impossible choices, each one adding to the wave of pure possibility that crashed against the parasite's destiny ship. Reality itself seemed to hold its breath as certainty and possibility collided in a battle that took place outside of normal space and time. And in that moment, Alex made the simplest choice of all. He chose to hope. The wave of possibility transformed into something new, not just freedom of choice, but the power of choosing to be free. It hit the parasite's ship like a supernova of maybe. The destiny ship began to crack, leaking compressed certainty into the quantum void. The parasite screamed in frequencies that shattered probability itself. But they weren't done yet. The imperial palace still stood, and inside it waited the machine that had helped the parasite control reality for so long. They had won the battle in the decision roads. Now they had to win the war in normal space. Ready for one last impossible thing? Zara asked, her human half smiling while her void stars blazed. Alex looked at their fleet of impossibilities, at Pip glowing with memories of futures yet to be, at the decision roads sparkling with potential all around them. With this crew, he grinned, everything's possible. The rebel fleet emerged from quantum space into normal reality, ready to free not just their own futures, but everyone's right to choose their own path. The Imperial Palace waited ahead, its certainty fields weakened but not broken. The final battle would take place in a reality that was rapidly learning to be free again, and Alex knew, watching their impossible fleet prepare for one last charge, that his parents would have been proud of the choice he'd made. The Imperial Palace transformed as they approached, its certainty fields failing in patches. Where probability leaked in, the building shifted between different versions of itself. A crystal spire, a quantum cloud, a living garden of metallic flowers. Reality was remembering how to dream. The probability core is in the throne room, Zora said, her void stars pulsing with determination. It's what the parasite used to calculate and compress all possible futures into a single timeline. Their fleet split into quantum echoes, each ship existing in multiple states at once. Some became light, others turned to sound, a few transformed into pure mathematical equations flying through space. The palace defenses couldn't target what they couldn't define. Inside, they found a palace guard unlike anything they'd expected. Not soldiers, but probability sculptors, beings that could shape chance itself. They threw bolts of pure certainty, trying to lock the rebels into single, defeatable forms. Pip, Alex called. Show them what real memories look like. Pip's scales erupted with everything that could have been. She projected memories of the guards' other lives, versions where they'd chosen differently, futures they'd been denied. The sculptors hesitated, seeing their own lost possibilities. You can choose again, Zora told them. Everyone can. One by one, the guards lowered their weapons. Some began to flicker between forms as they reclaimed their right to change. The throne room doors were made of frozen time, but they weren't frozen anymore. As the palace remembered possibility, the doors cycled through past, present, and future all at once. They showed Alex's parents building the possibility engine, showed the moment the parasite first arrived, showed thousands of potential endings to this very battle. The probability core, Alex breathed. In the center of the throne room floated a perfect cube of compressed destiny. It pulsed with anti-possibility, trying to force reality back into rigid patterns. Around it, the last loyal probability sculptors fought to maintain order. But they had a secret weapon. From their dream ship, Alex and Zara unveiled the sphere of pure choice from the possibility engine. But instead of using it as a weapon, Zara did something unexpected. She began to sing. Not with her human voice, but with her void stars. It was the song of quantum uncertainty, of electrons choosing their paths, of light deciding to be wave or particle. The sphere of choice resonated with her voice, and soon the entire rebel fleet joined in, each ship adding its own impossible music. The palace itself began to sing, remembering when it was just one possibility among many. The probability core's perfect surface started to ripple. Now, Alex activated his parents' final gift, the transformed translator bracelet. But it wasn't translating languages anymore. It was translating possibilities. Reality shimmered as choice flowed back into existence. The probability core tried to calculate it all, tried to reduce infinity to one. Instead, it began to expand, showing all the paths it had compressed. The loyal sculptors watched in awe as their carefully crafted certainty dissolved into infinite potential. Some fell to their knees, overwhelmed by freedom. Others began to change forms rapidly, becoming all the things they'd never let themselves be. Father, Zara called to the remains of the parasite, which had followed them in its broken destiny ship. You can choose too. You can be more than hunger. The galaxy face swirled one last time. For a moment, Alex saw something like regret in those cosmic eyes. Then the parasite made its choice. It let go. The Destiny ship dissolved into stardust as the creature chose to become part of the possibility it had fought so hard to control. Its last whisper echoed through quantum space. I choose to end. The probability core reached critical mass, but instead of exploding, it transformed. The perfect cube became a sphere, then a flower, then a flock of light birds that flew through the palace walls into open space. Each one carried a different possible future, free to become real if chosen. What happens now? Alex asked, watching reality reshape itself around them. Zara smiled, both smiles at once. Everything. Anything. Whatever we choose. Pitt's scales shifted through colors that didn't exist before as she absorbed new memories, not just of what was or could have been, but of what might be. The decision roads are permanent now, she said. Anyone can find them if they're brave enough to be uncertain. The palace continued to change, becoming a new kind of capital. Not a place of rigid rules, but a quantum crossroads where all possibilities met. The rebels who'd fought with them began to spread through the galaxy, teaching others how to find and shape their own choices. As for Alex and Zara, they looked at each other and saw infinite possibilities. Marriage was still an option, but now it would be their choice, not a contract. Want to explore the quantum tunnels? Zara asked. There are whole universes we haven't seen yet. With you? Alex took her hand, flesh meeting void stars in a touch that created new possibilities. Always. Their dream ship sailed into the decision roads, where reality was still learning to be free. Behind them, the palace shimmered between forms, a reminder that everything was possible again. And somewhere in the quantum foam between choices, Alex felt his parents smiling. They'd given their lives to make this possible, and now their son had helped make it real. Or possible. Or both. After all, those were choices too. The end.